Story 1. My daughter abandoned me at 12 for her rich stepfather, then demanded that I give up my parental rights. Now she's 22, her mom is dead, and she wants to come back after her stepfather kicked her out. My ex-wife and I divorced 12 years ago. Back then, she was 41 and I was 45. She found comfort in the pants of a wealthy man. Sorry, there's no other way to put it. She had always been a stay-at-home mom, never interested in working or earning money. She wanted to stay home, manage the house, and raise our daughter. Even though money was tight, I never forced her to work. I worked 2 jobs and made enough to put decent food on the table. But I couldn't provide the luxury lifestyle she wanted. I won't go deep into my relationship with my ex. This post is about Laura. I'll tell the story about my ex another time. When Laura was 10, my ex admitted she was sleeping with some rich guy. That same day, she moved out and we filed for divorce. We shared custody of Laura. Since I worked 2 jobs and my ex didn't work, we agreed Laura would spend weekends with me. Laura and I had a great bond. We'd go on adventure trips together. Spending time with her helped me cope with the painful divorce. But over time, I noticed Laura started avoiding our visits. I used to look forward to her Friday messages making plans for the weekend. But then things changed. Sorry, I can't make it this weekend. We're going skiing. Or something like that. Elite sports or fancy trips with her stepfather. At first, I ignored it, thinking he was just trying to make her happy and that I shouldn't be jealous. But then I realized Laura simply didn't want to spend time with me anymore. Our weekly visits dropped to twice a month. Then just once a month. She seemed less and less interested in being with me. When it became obvious she was avoiding me, I talked to her directly. I explained that I was doing my best to make her happy, giving it everything I had. But even after that, she kept skipping weekends. And started lying. Instead of saying she was going somewhere with her stepfather, she'd make excuses: too much homework, urgent projects. Sometimes believable, often not. Whenever we did spend time together, she'd complain the whole time. It's more fun with stepdad, he doesn't look at the prices when ordering food. Even on trips I took her on, she'd compare everything and say it was better with him. She'd whine about small things she never used to care about, but never stopped bragging about the PlayStation her stepfather bought her or the new bike from her mom. I thought maybe she was too young to understand that gifts aren't love. Then things got worse. She disappeared for over 3 months. I called and texted, silence. I called my lawyer and explained everything. He said I could sue my ex for alienating Laura from me, but Laura was 12, she could tell the court she didn't want to see me. He warned me, it could backfire. Laura could say she needed more money to maintain her new lifestyle, which would mean increased child support. Yes, I was still paying child support, even though her rich stepfather gave her more than a comfortable life. I gave up on fighting for custody, it wasn't worth it. My lawyer suggested an official meeting outside of court to clarify what they wanted. I agreed. He sent them a notice explaining our concerns and that we wanted to settle things amicably. I had a bad feeling my ex wouldn't agree. She had money and time to drag things out in court. Surprisingly, she agreed to meet with her lawyer present. At the meeting were her husband, my ex, and Laura. They immediately claimed they weren't influencing her and let Laura speak for herself. And then Laura dropped a bomb I'll never forget. She said she wanted me to give up my parental rights. It's been 10 years, but I remember that moment perfectly. I went silent. I don't know how long, but my lawyer nudged me for a reaction. I looked at everyone. What was I supposed to do? I looked at my ex. She smirked, like she knew this was coming. I took Laura's hand and said, "Honey, I hope you understand what you're saying. Giving up my parental rights means you can no longer call me dad. You won't be my daughter anymore." She pulled her hand away, looked me straight in the eyes, and said, "Yes, that's what I want." I was stunned. I couldn't find the words to explain what this meant. My lawyer tried to explain about inheritance, legal consequences, but she wouldn't change her mind. She turned to her stepfather and asked, "Once he gives up his rights, can you adopt me?" He nodded enthusiastically. "Of course, sweetheart." I can't describe the pain I felt at that moment. My heart shattered. After 15 years with my wife, the only light in my life had been Laura. I had lived for her, working 2 exhausting jobs. Even 2 years after the divorce, I hadn't dated, I had no time or desire. I wanted to give all my love to Laura. And this is what I got in return. She wanted to get rid of me. I was too broken to think clearly. My lawyer asked for a postponement so I could respond. I'm sure my ex and her husband slept peacefully that night, happy to leave me in such a vulnerable state. My lawyer drove me home. As soon as he left, I broke down crying like a baby in my empty apartment. I called my parents and told them what happened. They were horrified and came over to comfort me. My parents, especially my mom, were very close to Laura. Mom had cared for Laura for a year when my ex had surgery and was bedridden. Mom tried talking to Laura, but she was firm. I had to give up my rights. She desperately wanted her rich stepfather to adopt her. He had told her he couldn't do it unless I officially gave up my rights. I asked my lawyer what options I had. He said I could try suing for parental alienation, but it would be hard to prove. They had money to fight it, and I didn't. And really, why fight for someone who had fully chosen their side? It was a lost battle. I had no choice. I swallowed the bitter pill and gave up my parental rights. The next week, I was a wreck. I quit my second job. Who was I earning for now? I lost all will to get up in the morning. I took so many days off at my main job that I eventually got fired. I moved to another city, slept in metro stations, wandered around aimlessly. Gradually, I started rebuilding my life. I found a new job, joined a gym, started therapy. It took 2 years to recover. I didn't jump into new relationships, but I did have a lot of one-night stands, my way of coping. That's how I met my wife, Brianna. She had a 5-year-old daughter, Emma. After a while, we moved in together. The first time Brianna introduced me to Emma, I cried. She reminded me so much of Laura. I wanted Emma to call me Dad, but I was too scared to ask. I kept a healthy but cautious relationship with her. When Emma turned 12, she asked me herself if I would adopt her. It was an incredible moment. Now I have 2 daughters, Emma and our 3-year-old with Brianna. I think I've given enough context. Fast forward to a week ago. I was coming home from work when I saw a familiar face smiling at me. As I got closer, I realized it was Laura. I got chills, like seeing a ghost. She was taller, slimmer, and beautiful, but I'd recognize her anywhere. She ran up, hugged me, and said, "Dad, it's me, Laura. I finally found you." I looked at her with empty eyes and said, "I have 2 daughters. You're not one of them." Without letting her say anything, I turned and walked away. She followed me, but I turned and said, "Stop following me or I'll call the police." I haven't seen her since. The next day, she came to my house. As soon as I opened the door, she started, I'm sorry. I know you're angry. Please listen to me." She said her mom had died, and her stepfather had brought home his mistress and no longer cared about her. He cut her off financially and told her she had to support herself. When she pressured him, he threatened to disown her. I listened to her complaints with a stone face and said, "So what?" She begged for another chance. I yelled at her to leave and slammed the door. Then she went to my mom, cried, and got her to feel sorry for her. Now my mom wants me to reconcile for the sake of the family. But the pain she caused me makes that impossible. Story 2. My girlfriend constantly disrespects my parents, and they can't stand her anymore. This is my first girlfriend. We've been dating for 10 months. We met online and connected right away. We both struggle with socializing. She's a bit better at it than I am, but for some reason her social anxiety hits in the strangest ways and at the worst times. Overall, things were going well, but we did have occasional issues. Recently, though, the fights have gotten worse. Sometimes over serious things, sometimes over petty nonsense. We're trying to work on it, but it's draining. The main problem now is my parents and how they see her. Her parents love me and think I'm a great guy. I usually greet them, chat a bit even though there's a language barrier. But my parents don't see my girlfriend the same way. My dad is very chill, but my mom is more emotional. There's always tension between my mom and my girlfriend. My girlfriend says it feels like my mom doesn't like her and judges her, though my mom denies it. When my girlfriend comes over, sometimes she says hello, but usually she just heads straight to my room. I'd love for us to spend more time with each other's families, but my girlfriend always refuses, saying she's uncomfortable. Sometimes it feels like she wants to control my time and keep me from hanging out with other people. One time, my mom asked me what I saw in my girlfriend, what made me happy with her. I always thought it was obvious. I felt good with her. Sure, we have different interests. She wants to be a surgeon, I'm a programmer. The real trouble started with 2 recent situations. First, my girlfriend was at my house. I went downstairs to look for a hard drive she needed. While I was down there, my mom was sorting through an old cabinet of my stuff. I also checked on a pizza in the oven. Mom asked me to help her sort through some papers. I agreed. It took maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Meanwhile, my girlfriend was upstairs in my room alone. After a while, she came downstairs, clearly annoyed, and asked where I had gone. She didn't even acknowledge my parents, grabbed a slice of pizza and went back upstairs. I stayed downstairs a bit longer. When I went back up, we immediately started fighting. She said I had left her alone forever, that it was rude and thoughtless. She said I should have told her I was helping my mom because this was supposed to be our time. I was always uncomfortable with this attitude, but I agreed to give her a heads up in the future. This was the first fight my parents noticed. Then there was another incident. We had spent a weekend at a hotel. Her car was parked at my parents' house. She had parked in a way that partially blocked the mailbox, so the mail carrier couldn't reach it properly. My parents noticed this the next day and my dad texted, "Hey guys, could you move the car so the mail can be delivered?" No big deal, right? We were going there anyway before heading into town. But my girlfriend got super angry. She said my parents should have told her right when she parked. She thought the car was fine and didn't want to move it. She said it was a waste of her time and got really irritated. I didn't want to fight again over nothing, so I said, "Okay, I'll go move it myself." But then she had the nerve to say I should move it and absolutely not chat with my parents while I was there. She also told me not to park in their driveway, even though my parents had offered it. On the way there, I was on the phone with my parents. They were really offended. They said she had no right to tell me, or them, where I could or couldn't park on their property. They said if she wanted to give orders, she could come and move the car herself. I moved the car. But that wasn't the end of it. The next day, my parents sat me down. They said they couldn't tolerate her anymore and didn't want her in their home. They gave 3 reasons. They think she's controlling me, that I always do what she wants but get nothing back. They find it strange that we're always on the phone even right after we've seen each other just because she needs constant closeness. They think she's spoiled, immature, and rude. In short, they think she's not right for me. And honestly, they're not wrong. Lately we've been fighting a lot. She takes my words too personally. If I don't speak in a soft, loving tone, she says I'm being mean. We also fight when she thinks I'm doing something wrong or acting foolish. I used to dismiss these thoughts and give her another chance. But the more I think about it, the clearer it is that this isn't working. Example, my hobby is robotics. She doesn't like it, has told me directly it's boring and pointless, just playing with big toys. I told her that was hurtful, an example of her not supporting me. She said she does support me and gave 2 examples. She attended a prep session for one robotics event but left before it even started. Another time, she came to an event, but only because it was part of a weekend trip. Sometimes I feel like I have to walk on eggshells to avoid triggering another fight. Meanwhile, she thinks I'm always the one starting arguments. Deep down, I know this relationship is doomed. Even though we're doing couples therapy, this will end badly. She's even said she doesn't love me the way she used to and doesn't know why she stays if I make her so unhappy. But I know if I break up with her, she'll be furious and blame me for everything. It's not healthy. I feel like I've hit that moment of clarity. I need advice. How do I end this without it blowing up? I'm no longer trying to force this relationship to survive. I just don't know how to tell her. Update. Before I get to the update, a few clarifications. Yes, I know my parents were a bit too involved. But this was the first time I had ever discussed my relationship problems with them, and only because they brought it up. Meanwhile, my girlfriend would regularly talk about our problems on the phone with her mom or friends, with me sitting right there. About the fight where she was alone upstairs. I went downstairs to get her the item she asked for, plus checked the pizza she wanted me to cook. She claimed I left her alone for an hour. It was more like 20 minutes. And about the car/mailbox thing. Some people called my parents controlling. I disagree. They never bothered us during our visits. They noticed the car issue the next day and politely asked us to move it. We were already planning to stop by. My girlfriend said she was tired and didn't want to go, so I went alone. It took 20 minutes. Now for the update. I broke up with her yesterday. We had another fight, nothing serious, but I was just done. I realized if we're fighting this much, we're just incompatible. There were lots of tears. She admitted she demands a lot of attention and sometimes acts like a child. She said we're at different life stages. She's a student working a part-time job, living a student life. I have a full-time job and adult responsibilities. She admitted she often starts fights but claimed it wasn't on purpose. She apologized and said she now realized how much she was losing. But I didn't give in. I made it clear, it's over. No extra month, no extra week, done. Next step, I talked to my parents and set boundaries. I told them my relationships are my business, and they shouldn't interfere unless I ask for advice. They took it well. I also said that relationship details are private between me and my partner. Yes, I know my ex and I fought a lot. That's unhealthy. I need better, healthier relationships. I may love her, but I won't stay in something this toxic. So now I'm single again. This relationship is over. I've learned a lot from it, and I'll be better moving forward. I'm also planning to move out. I have friends in California, and I hope to relocate there next year. Thanks for the advice.